Yeah, all those guys were great, man. Especially compared to nowadays, man. All those guys were A-listers. Like there was just so many good rappers and good producers that came through there, man. You know, and nowadays, one of them, you know, take out 10. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah. What's funny is you take that because my man Guinness Stout was unofficially the leader of the Benton chapters.
Assault and battery with a bag of salt and batteries.
Oh, right? Yeah.
I got that. Like when I first met you, you guys already had been doing what you've been doing for a hot minute, and I just hadn't happened to cross paths with you. But what you had done with him was already established. Like I remember you had Speakeasy Sounds, that was already a thing. You had CDs. He already had gear he was selling, and you know, it was like Brick Face and all that stuff. But you guys were kind of working together, like, you know, symbiotically is how I saw it. He was like the host, and you were always like the main backbone of the music, but there would be other circling, you know, cycling producers that would come to the Soundlab, and you would be like a mainstay, and there might be different people that come and go, you know, right?
That was largely it. I'll be honest, that was it. But to be honest, he was actually in it, like as far as promoting venues and things of that nature. He was in it before I was.
Okay.
And once I got in it, I just found my little niche. I found my role, and you know, it was like it wasn't even arranged, so to speak. It was just like we both just did what we had to do, and it wasn't even, I'd say like that. It wasn't even like I was doing it for him, or it wasn't like he was doing it for me. We were doing it for hip hop. We were doing it for, like, we needed it. Just having the venue, we didn't want to have to go to New York. I'm thinking like when you are out in Trenton, I think they, Ivan, Young Cuz, he used to say that Philly, like the way we look at New York City here in Newark is the way that people in Trenton looked at Philly. It was like that was your, you know, your center of the little metropolis. And we didn't want to have to keep going all the way to New York City to go see beat battles and DJ battles and MC battles. We wanted to have it over here in northern New Jersey as well. So that was largely, it was the idea we wanted to bring, I don't want to say bring hip hop, but bring that aspect, that live aspect of hip hop.
The cats I grew up with, like 90, 91, 92, 93, coming to the studio and doing our shit there, that started to dissipate in a way. Like by the time I was 22, I don't know if you were like this, like me, by the time I was 22, a lot of the people that were involved had dropped out. And so now I was stuck with the people that were really into it, you know, the hip hop shit. You know, now people that were like hobbyists had started to drop out. High school was over, they were doing something else, right? And so by that time, a lot of the people that I had worked with had dropped out, you know. So when I went to the Soundlab, it was such a weird environment because it was always positive. I always left feeling good at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So
I'll tell you the truth. There really wasn't. There was one kid, there was a girl who was on the mic and he went to interrupt her. And she like dissed him. And then he tried to get on the mic again. I don't know if he was drunk or what, but he tried to get on the mic again when Black 45 was on the mic. Not Black, it was a poet named Tree. And, you know, some folks went and they grabbed him, like, you know, basically sit your ass down. But that was the only time I remember. It must have been 7 to 10 year run that we were up there. And that was the only time that there was anything close. And I think a lot of it, I'll give almost pretty much like 99% of that credit to Black 45 and the way he just managed the atmosphere of everything. Everything was peace, but it was like there was an energy. We're not here for that. It's like whatever you do back on the block, you're doing on the block, whatever you do, whether it's in a parking lot, whatever. But right here, this is where the jewel is. And, you know, it's like, no, what we need you to contribute so we can keep this going. So that was usually how it went when we were down there.
I never seen anything like that before. Because I'll be honest with you, man, in the places in Trenton where I had gone, there was always a problem. You know, that's historical, though. I'm not trying to talk badly, but I'm just saying it's historical for Trenton for there to have been a show or an event and there would be a big problem. You know what I mean? So when I went out to Newark, and to me, in our mind in Trenton, Newark was still like a step above us because it was larger. There was more identified. Although we're very proud of like the Trenton area, you know, PRT and everything, I go down the long list. Newark just had a bigger list, as simple as that. You know what I mean? They had like Redman and at that time the Outsiders, and then you got the whole history with the Flavor Unit and Mark 45 King. And so
Rakim Shabazz,
and you know, so that was to us was bigger. You know, to us, Newark was bigger. So when I went out there, I kind of expected, if this is the kind of show that I'm going to be going to, if it's happening like this in Trenton, there's going to be a major problem. Every single week, I would go there, every month, and I would come back thinking, there's no problem, man. You know, I could bring I could bring my sister to this shit. You know, and it's such a strange combination. You
The
know?
spot we had in Montclair, 8 Park Street, that wasn't the original spot. There was another spot in East Orange. And Orange, New Jersey, that is. It's not too far from Newark. And it was a bar. And the fact that it was a bar, I couldn't get a lot of kids in. Like when Self used to come and he was in 11th grade, he got in because we didn't have a bar. All these other spots, he never would have gotten in. And there's a few of them, they never would have gotten in. So that was the thing about 8 Park Street. We didn't just get like folks who were in their 20s and 30s. We got folks who were in late high school and they were hungry. And it just influenced. And then we had that positivity with Black. It was like, yeah, fuck school. It wasn't that. It was like, you know what? Y'all go to school. Y'all get back here on Saturday next month. Do your work, write your rhymes, get back here. And some of them, there were parents who would walk down and look around and say, okay, this looks good. That was when nobody was in the back blazing or whatever. But their parents would come down and see, and it was like, all right, looks like a good place. Just make sure you get home by 1 o'clock.
Yeah, all those guys were great, man. Especially compared to nowadays, man. All those guys were A-listers. Like there was just so many good rappers and good producers that came through there, man. And nowadays, one of them, take out 10. It's crazy.
Yeah, what's funny is you take that because my man Guinness Stout was unofficially the leader of the Benton chapters.
Assault and battery with a bag of salt and batteries.
Oh, yeah.
I got that. Look, man. I've been using weed a long time. I still got those cells.
Yo, you about to have me fall back in my chair. I can't believe. Yes, man. Yo, they were killing. And I'll be honest, I'm not going to pat myself on the back. The fact that we kept Soundlab going, because they didn't, they went to a lot of venues. They go to colleges and perform, whatever. Mm-hmm. But that was one of the reasons I said I had to keep the Soundlab going, because I was ready to end it. I was tired of it. And I remember Ox, of all people, kept saying, man, if you end it, what else are they going to have? Sometimes it's like a responsibility. You got to keep it going for that purpose. I said, all right. And I remember they would come, and it was like a workshop, like I said. This is dude Lethal. I don't know if you remember Lethal.
Lethal is a big guy, real big
yes.
guy.
Yes, he lost a lot of weight, I might add. He lost a lot of weight.
Good.
Oh, yeah, man. Lethal, I remember.
Man. He was great. Oliver North, I remember those guys.
Oh, Ollie North. Yeah, I went to Oliver North's house. We recorded. I dropped the beat. He said, all right, he had his little recorder. He said, I'm going to record it. And he sent it to me. And then he said, I want to perform it live at the Soundlab. Okay. And I played the beat, and he performed. That's what I was like. We had to raise each other up. And we didn't go to New York. We didn't go to Philly. We didn't go to these places to try to pick up. We learned from each other. So that's man, those days were incredible, man. Incredible. Wow.
You were already in your 20s at that time too. So a lot of these guys, you were kind of like a big brother figure to a lot of them, probably.
Yeah.
Just your age, just by virtue of your age difference, right?
What's crazy is I was maybe 27, 29 or so at that time. And I look at what I may have known 10 years later, and just like all of us, what you may have known 10 years, 20 years later. And it's like, but the thing is, it's a learning process. We learn and we grow. And I'll tell you what, I don't know if you ever went, I think you were in California by this time. Self started, because he started promoting as well.
Variety, right? The
Garden
Variety joints. Yeah, I went to a few of them. I left in 2012, so I hit a lot of them up until then. There was a few that happened after I left, though.
Oh, okay. Because he did something in Newark as well. It was called the Armory.
The Armory. Yeah, the Armory Tavern. Yep.
Yeah, I work up the block from the Armory now, but I remember that's like in the center of Newark. That's like the center of the city. That's some crazy shit. But yeah, man, I remember going there, and I'm like, yo, this is a nice spot. They had out in the back, you could smoke or this and that and the other. And I was really happy with Self. He went from Park Street. He did some stuff down in Trenton just on promoting. And that's what I mean. To me, there's a responsibility to hip hop. It's a responsibility to New Jersey. And he really took it. He didn't just stay in one spot. Because I'll be honest, I stayed in like 2 spots, maybe 3. He went like out of city, and he would promote and build up. And it's like I almost look at it like a good, I don't want to say drug dealer, but a good, like you need a hit of this. And it's the idea, like, if you never experienced it, I'm going to bring it to you.
Word.
And when I went to the Armory one time, they had
I I saw
They had
Young Z there. It was like in the late 2007
a
or
word.
9, right? Yeah, Young Z was there with like a couple of the outsiders, and Self was doing the promotion for the event.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they did a couple outside joints, and then there was other, you know, a lot of people, rest in peace, man. Like Big Snuff would perform there. Remember him? He would perform.
Oh my God,
That was
Big
a big
Snuff.
loss. That's a big loss, man, with him.
I got a Big Snuff story. It was funny actually. It was very funny. It was at in Montclair at the Soundlab, and somebody was smoking, and they left the door to the smoke room open. I said, "Yo, if you're gonna smoke, can you please go in the smoke room and please close the door?" So Snuff got on the mic and said, "Yeah, you can't smoke in your mama living room, but you come here, you can't respect the people here." So after he said that, he said, "You got a track?" So somebody put a beat on. Watch Snuff take a cigarette and light it up right there while he was on stage. I was like, "What the?" And then I just said, "You know what? He did tell everybody else to go. It's all good." You know, it was crazy. Is it was a girl I used to talk to, and I heard about Big Snuff maybe a day or two before. She came over and she was online. Somebody sent her an inbox message, probably Facebook, and they said, "You heard what happened to Snuffy or whatever." And she said, "Well," I said, "Yeah, Snuff, you ain't here." And like it's kind of like when you know people and other people and you're in the same circle, you just don't know you're in the same circle. And I said, "Snuff." She said, "No, you don't know Snuff." I said, "Yes, I do know Snuff. He's an MC, this, that, and the other." And I said, "Yeah, he died. He passed." And she started crying. And she said, "Oh my God, I didn't even know." Snuff was that dude was. I'm thinking Snuff, Govmatic. Oh man,
Yeah.
it's we had some losses, but you know what? We've been blessed to even at the Tony D to just have been in their presence. We've been blessed, man, and we know we learned a lot of lessons from them. I'll tell you another quick story. Somebody we were at the studio and Big Daddy who was in Forbidden Chapters. He came in with his MPC 2000. He put the beat down. It was dope. Somebody laid the first verse, and Black was like the executive producer. Kid laid the verse. Black said, "It's good. You could do better." And I thought he did a good job, but Black said he was in like, you know, P. Diddy mode. He said, "Yo, you could do better." And it was like he killed the kid's spirit. Like he tried to lay the verse. Every time he tried to lay it after, he kept messing up. And I was like, he said, "No, I know he could do better." I said, "I hear you, but you're being too tough on him." Like, you know, he actually had it that first round. You don't, you know, it's like a coach or a parent trying to be hard on the kid because they want to bring out the greatness. But then it's like, you know what? He's good enough as it is.
You know what it sounds like? You know what's crazy, Coach, man? It's like
Mhm.
when we talk about this stuff and you tell me these stories and I talk about how I related to it and how the experience was for me, the Soundlab, it almost sounds like when you're talking about it in a historical perspective, like we are now, it almost sounds like exchangeable. Like we sound like we're talking about youth outreach almost. It
Yeah.
almost sounds like we're talking about youth outreach. You could, you know, but if we didn't talk about the freestyles or whatever.
That's exactly what it is. That's it.
Right?
And that's why I say we raised each other through hip hop, through all it, you know, it's like some may or may not have gone to college, but that was a different class in itself. All of us going and doing that, whether it was in Trenton, whether we were out in Ohio somewhere, that was a different class in itself, how we were learning about life.